All right, we are live, ladies and gentlemen. Congratulations. Welcome to the weekly real estate talk show with Raul Luna. And today we got a very great special guest here with us. So I want to congratulate every single person who made the space, who decided to be here with us at noon. And make sure that you're in a location where you can literally pay attention, grab your favorite drink, make sure that, that more importantly, that if you acquire the knowledge, don't let it just be there. Put it to practice. Make sure that you get it going. One of the things that I do is when I read or when I attend a webinar or when I go to an event, the very first thing is, why is it that I'm there, and what is it that I'm going to apply? And I usually, just to help you guys here in attendance, I usually look for 1 to 2 things that I'm going to immediately put into practice. And I remember when I first, came across to Mr. Al Williamson, who's here as a guest here today with us. And for the very first time, we're actually bringing a guest into my weekly webinar. So, he's the one that's going to break the ice. He's the one that's going to set the pattern, basically. For the ones that don't know who Mr. Al is, he is the landlord scientist, the #1 landlord scientist. He has a really great business model. Everybody thinks that you got to either buy real estate, you got to have deep pockets or great credit, or oftentimes we think that real estate is only, by buying and selling or wholesaling. And he has proven completely different otherwise. He has proven that you could lease the real estate. You could do extended stay, rentals, and make not only a great living, but reach financial freedom. He was able to, basically fire his boss and be able to get, going and doing it full time. And now he's an educator, sharing it with people around the world. And here we have him today. So help me welcome here to the webinar, to the Real Estate Weekly Talk Show, Mr. Al Williamson.
Hey,
Welcome.
hey, I'm here.
Welcome, welcome.
Hey, thank you. Thank you for having me. It's good to be here. I've been looking forward to this. Thanks for sharing me with your audience.
Yeah, totally. I believe in your program. I believe obviously in your education. So I love, I love the creative ways, because I remember when I started, Mr. Al, 19 years ago, if it wasn't because of creative real estate acquisition, I don't know if I was going to be able to really amass real estate in a very short period of time. And it was that aspect. And today, technology changes the game all over.
That's good. That's
change,
absolutely right.
I've embraced that. So go straight out.
That's right. I couldn't have said it better. Absolutely. It's just amazing how that awakening, that you can design your own life. And if you get a little bit of information, it just opens doors for you.
Totally.
So it's amazing. Hey, so what do you want to do? You want to talk about short-term rentals today?
Yeah, go straight out. I think it's important. We can all obviously put something to work, and I love it. I think I've experienced the short term. I when I go to events, usually I prefer to stay, at the short term rentals.
Absolutely.
And it works really great.
Absolutely. I love it. I love it. I love it. Hey, I got some stuff I'm pretty excited to share with your audience. You want me to share my screen and dive in?
Yeah. Go straight ahead.
Okay, let me do that. Let's see. Can you do that for me?
If anybody has a question, I'm going to be the one that's going to be asking it. So feel free to obviously, chime in.
I think you need to give me permission to switch over there.
Okay. You should already, but give me a moment. What I'll do, you're a co-host. As a co-host, you should.
There I go.
Yeah.
I see it. I got it. And hey, let's take a look at that from the beginning.
There you go. I see it now.
I don't. Where's my thing? Okay. Hey, I got this thing on my. Can you still see me in the corner?
Yes, I can.
I was trying to take that off to get a clean view here.
So just click, just make the screen small.
Yeah. How's that?
Yeah.
All right. Well, right on. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for having me. I am Al Williamson. I'm going to be talking to you guys about how to build a short-term rental cash flow machine and achieve freedom in the Bay Area, not just everywhere, because you guys have the Bay Area is its own phenomenon. So
Can you do it in the Bay Area?
let's keep it straight to the Bay Area, okay? Now, I bet most folks don't know is that most people think of short-term rentals as weekend stays, 1-2 night stays, which they are. The majority of the activity is that, but 36% of the travel in the United States are with people who are staying 1 to 6 months. So it's a huge volume of travel where people are doing extended stays. That's why you see these types of hotels popping up all around you, because we're location independent with these laptops and smartphones and cloud computing. We can work anywhere. You can send your staff anywhere. So that's why we see more of this, more traveling going on. And in San Mateo area, this is what it looks like. It looks like right along 92, you have a cluster right there, Foster City, San Mateo,
Right.
are just doing a great job and cleaning up with this extended stay market. And a lot of people think that you can't even do short-term rentals in San Mateo, and they get discouraged. And it's not even thinking about extended stays. But I went and pulled the ordinance for folks because there's always some skeptics, and I like to address them because they are important. They can just go look up ordinance 4777 in the county of San Mateo and read the definition of what extended or short-term rental means. And for the ordinances and the taxes and all those things, they define it as 30 days and less. So stays that are less than 30 consecutive days are under different ordinances. And Raul, guess what happens if you go 31 days?
It's no longer regulated.
That's right. You are free and clear to take off. You are just a regular landlord.
So it seems like the key factor here is just know the rules and play by the rules.
That's exactly right. You can do all this with high integrity and compete directly against these extended stays. Because I don't know if you've ever stayed. Have you ever stayed in a hotel for like a week, 2 weeks?
I have.
Isn't it? You gotta get a little stir crazy, right?
It's definitely not unless it's like a big, high end, super extremely nice hotel.
Yeah.
Probably about 1,500 couple $1,000 a night. Is not a good experience.
Yeah, it's not going to be a great experience. You go through their breakfast menu. You have breakfast a few times. You're like, oh, I'm tapped out.
Yeah.
Well, let me do a quick introduction. I am, as Raul said, I am the world's first landlord scientist, and I have 19 short-term rentals. So I have a corporate housing company here in Sacramento. So actually, that's what I do every day is I operate and run my corporate housing company. And I've trained over 700 people to do the similar things on how to get involved with short-term rentals and extended stays specifically. That's my focus is business travelers and student stays. So when I was in San Mateo, I did a little detective work. I went to the Extended Stay America to see what the competition was in that area. And I saw at best, their best rate is $125 a night. I said, okay. Let me go see what I get for the $125 a night. And I walked in, I saw this cardboard furniture. I see this bed with a dip in it and this tiny kitchen. This was it. This is this little studio here. I saw just a tiny TV and some, I got one chair. And there's my kitchen. I got 2 burners, no microwave, no oven, and not a mini fridge, but a small fridge. And that's it. It's not too much to it. Here's the bathroom. It's kind of standard, nothing fancy. Nice clean tub, but that's it. And I'm like, well, doggone it, any apartment could do that. I could create that anywhere in San Mateo, and I definitely would love $125 a night. So look at the math. We're talking about 30 days and longer because there's so much travelers who are looking for those extended stays. And I did the math, and right here, there's that everything is tax. You got sales tax, you got occupancy tax, you got that lodging tax that you always are surprised by when you go to a hotel. So for 30 days in San Mateo, it's $456. So that gets added on. So altogether, the math says $4,206 for that little place, that little tiny kitchen in it. And people are booking these things out so that they don't have any more room. They're completely no vacancies. So the question is, hey, can you guys do something? That's what I want you to ask yourself. Can you do something less? Can you do something nicer for less than $4,206? And I bet your answer is yes. Absolutely, sure can. So it's an amazing time. Look at this. Let's let the red bar represent what Airbnb, which is the most popular short-term rental booking agency. They're matchmakers with the hotel of the JW Marriott. Everyone's heard of the Marriott. Well, like I show you in this corner here, the Marriott has 1.1 million transactions per night. So there are lots of things going on. The Marriott is all over the world, including China. They're in 101 countries. So they are the largest chain in the world, physical chain. But Airbnb is doing 2.3 million transactions, more than twice as many transactions per night than the Marriott. And they are even in more countries. They're in 191 countries.
Interesting.
So that's the phenomenon. That puts things, so Airbnb is the largest, they consider themselves the largest hotel chain in the world, and they're larger than the top 3 physical brands combined. Okay, still larger. But here's what's amazing, is that the JW Marriott is like 63 years old. They start off in DC selling root beer, and they morphed into what they are now. 63. Airbnb is just 11 years old. So it's been just blowing up super fast, and it's no end in sight. That's what's amazing. But the question begs, so how come they grew so fast? And here's the answer is that the owners, they were design students. They just did industrial design. And they knew that if they wanted to be good employees, they would go get degrees and they get certificates. And that's kind of how you advance in the state agencies, and with employers, you go get those documents and formal education. But if you want to grow as a entrepreneur, or if you want to become an employer, then you need to go get a coach, because you need practical experience, and you need it quickly, so other people who have that experience speak into your life. And that's what happened for the Airbnb founders. They got good coaches, and that's how they were able to grow so fast. In fact, Raul, do you know any high performer, any professional athlete, opera singer, anyone, high performer that doesn't have a coach?
Most of the high level people, I've always known that they have coaches. I don't know of one that really plays at a neutral high level that says, oh, I don't have one.
I know. And think about those people running for president. They got those debates, right? The stakes are on the line. Whoever you're cheering for, I bet you hope they have a coach. I bet you do, because
directly or indirectly, they gotta have a coach. I mean,
they gotta have one.
Either, and what I mean directly, it's because they pay for it and they named them,
yeah,
or because indirectly they are inspired or aspired by somebody else's philosophy, and they they tend to grasp and gravitate towards that.
Absolutely. Awesome. So we got a blowing up industry with these short-term stays, and we got people wanting to stay longer, and people are jumping in and doing great. There's lots of Airbnb success stories, and it's easy. It really is. They do a phenomenal job of making it easy. Airbnb does. So if you want to work really hard, you can make a big gross with short-term rentals. Absolutely. But the thing is that it's going to take skill to make a large net with short-term rentals. So it's completely different. Airbnb wants you to maximize your gross income because they take 3% of that. That's how they make their money.
Mhm.
And they don't really ask you about your net income. They don't talk to you about that, or no one talks to you about your net income.
Mhm.
Even professional management companies, they take 25 to 30% of your gross income, and they leave whatever net income is there. That's your business. So what I found is that there's a complete different way of operating if you want to maximize your net income, because your net income is how you feed your family. That's what you take to the bank. That's what you use to improve your lifestyle, right?
Right.
So I said, hey, that's the difference there. There's if you look at how you operate for investors, they're saying I can operate my rental as a traditional landlord, which is that blue bar, or I can operate it as a short-term rental business owner. But the only reason to do it a short-term rental business owner if there's a significant difference in net income. I want a significant increase in net income. So that's what I'm going to be talking about. How do you get that significant increase above what you would get as a rental owner or rental operator?
Mr. Al, let me do a sound check just briefly. If
Okay.
everybody hears us right, if you're hearing us loud and clear, please put number one on the chat. Just give us a one, a number one. Okay, excellent. Everybody says that they hear us, so whoever is not hearing us is probably your system.
Yeah.
Go
Yeah.
straight
Turn
ahead.
up your speaker volume.
Yeah.
Well, right on. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. So that was the problem. This problem is it takes skill to get a large net income. It's not intuitive, but the solution is specialized coaching and training specifically for investors. I'm not talking about people who are sharing their home. If you're sharing your home, you don't really none of this really applies to you. But if you're an investor or you want to be a landlord or an investor in the Bay Area, that's what we're talking about specifically. Then you're going to need to know how to increase your profitability beyond what a regular landlord earns, and do it as passively as possible. That sound like something of interest to you guys? What's in the chat room? Can you guys give me a 10 if that sounds like that what you want to do?
Yep. We'll hear here. Oh, okay. Yep. There you go.
Okay.
People are interested.
All right. Well, let's keep going then. So I boiled it down for you guys because I know some people are on the lunch hour. So here's the top 3 things that you need to do to make that spread, to make that profit beyond what a traditional landlord earns. That means if you do that, that means you can actually participate in this buyer's market. I mean, the seller's market in the Bay Area, and these otherwise it's unreachable with the cash flow. So these are the things that you can do. We're going to talk about rental arbitrage, which is a big secret. I'm going to give you a bunch of Bay Area examples of that, and about marketing. This whole thing revolves around you knowing how to market your business. And I'm going to introduce you to Goldilocks and why you should strive for a Goldilocks type of extended stay rental. That'd be your optimal thing to do. Okay, let's dive into it. Secret number 1 is that let's talk about rental arbitrage for cash flow. And what it is when you rent a dwelling. I say dwelling because I want you guys to think about it could be a boat. It could be a houseboat. It could be a studio apartment. It could be a standalone 3-bed, 2-bath. It could be a mansion. It could be anything that you can rent out as shelter. Okay, and then you put your own furnishings in it. That's what's important. You talk for rental arbitrage. You talk to someone who's the landlord, the owner, and you talk to them. You tell them that you want to create a corporate housing rental, and ask them if they will allow you to operate out of their traditional rental because you want to use it for your business. And you work out all the details about subleasing, get all that negotiated and put in the lease so everything's done with high integrity. Then you put your furnishings in it, and then you go market your furnished rental now on these online platforms such as Airbnb and VRBO, all those different sites. And your objective is, if your expenses are, say, this for sake of numbers, say your expenses altogether that you have to pay the landlord and utilities and everything, say it's $1,000. Well, your objective is to bring in $2,000. So you get other people to pay you $2,000. You pay your landlord and your expenses their 1,000, and that leaves money for you. That is how rental arbitrage works. It's as sweet as that. And it's as simple as that. Your cash flow is the difference between your income and expenses. Simple as, I mean, we make it confusing, but it really is. Your cash flow is the difference between your income and expenses. So let's give you some examples. Well, this slide here is to show you that difference, because I'm showing you that blue line represents how much you would have to pay your landlord and a traditional rental expenses, and the red bar means how much that you can gain from income from other people, and that difference there is what you can use to catch up on your retirement and give yourself some time freedom, especially if you're doing extended stays. And that's the money that's available to improve your lifestyle. I might give you an example of Rochelle here. She's actually in Reno, but this is a good example because it's so close. She heard me talk in Walnut Creek, and she said, she likes the idea of extended stays because she didn't want to deal with people coming and going all the time. That was a turnoff. And she didn't want to deal with tourists. She wanted to deal with professional business travelers. And that's my focus. It's just business travelers. So that was great. But then she called me and she said, Al, I'm having a good life. I'm able to travel by myself, and I'm just that type of person. But my best friend is dying of breast cancer and asked me to help out with her kids, because she was concerned her kids were going to go to her mom, and her mom has some addiction problems and financial problems, financial management problems. And she's really worried about dying, of course, and she's worried about the care of her two little girls. So Rochelle, when she called me, she says, Al, I just can't be duped. This is just too important. I gotta take care of my friend last days, and I gotta take care of the kids. And I don't, running out of money. She was a home flipper. And so I don't have a lot of extra money to waste, and I can't be duped. I said, I'll take you on because this works, and I stand behind what I do, and I'm gonna make sure that you don't fall through the cracks. So she went through my program. She went through my rental arbitrage course, and it teaches you how to find a place. So she found this Victorian in Reno, and she got it in proximity of Hot August Nights, which is a car show that happens once a year. It's almost about time for Hot August Nights. It's a big draw to Reno, and the hotel prices spike for those 7 days. So I told her, find a place and find it within the proximity of Hot August Nights, because you'll always have a good demand. And that's what she did. She found this place off of Craigslist. She did her research, and she, I had to put together a checklist for her. So, because she was so distracted. So she just worked a little bit at a time through the checklist and talked to the landlord, used the scripts that I gave her, said, just say these words, tell them, when the scripts goes, tell them you're expanding your corporate housing company. And that's what she did. Then she, this is what it looks like. Simple furnishings. I said, Rochelle, this is not HDTV. I want you to keep your prices down. You got to be reasonable. Because we want you to break even quickly, so that you have a money that's available to take care of the kids and improve your lifestyle. And this is furniture she got from consignment shop, and this decoration she got from Ross. All this is used stuff. And then she took a bed from her own guest room at her house, and she set it up in here. So she was really trying to keep her costs down. That's what most people lose track of. They spend a lot of money on fancy remodels, because that's what an Airbnb host does. They go for themes, they go for fancy, nice stuff. They think they're a bed and breakfast, and they lose track of how much they're spending. And it takes some people a year and a half, 2 years before they even break even. In fact, some people don't. Some people takes them 2 years to break even, and they quit before that because they're burnt out from doing the short stays.
And then there's hacks that you can do, isn't it, for like mitigating like the risk and really just putting a business or creating a business with a very little investment or almost really nothing if you were to like partner up with the landlord even so.
Oh yeah, there's ways of doing that. But in doing that, when you're furnishing the place, if you spend too much on furnishings, it just pushes that break even time out. You got to be aware of that. That's
Right.
like the real talk that we need to have
Right.
when you're setting up. You got to pay attention because you're a business owner. You got to
Right.
think about that. So what she did, she went out and she using more of our system, she found a construction worker who was coming to town. He was a supervisor for 10 months. He was going to be in town, and she showed him the place, and they signed a lease agreement for that 10 months, and she was up and going. So she was using, but what happened in that negotiations, she said, hey, you're going to have to move out during hot August nights because I need it available so I can rent to people. And he's like, oh, well, if I move, I'm going to have to pay more elsewhere. I'm going to pay these other hotels because I have to stay in town. Why don't I pay you more each month?
Right.
So that's how insider knowledge helped her negotiations, and she got a sweet deal. She actually, on a net income basis, she makes $900 a month for this. And in the Bay Area is typically $1,300 a month of net income. And this break down those numbers real quick. So from her client, this construction supervisor, he's paying her $2,100 a month, which is less than the $3,000 of his housing allowance. So he's pocketing money, and he's happy. Rochelle, she pays the landlord $850. That's how much that place costs. And the landlord's thrilled because the place looks really good. So he's happy. And then she pays for Wi-Fi and utilities for heating, cooling. And she pays a little bit of renter insurance, $350. That's how she gets to $900 a month. And if we break that down, look at this. Raul, look at that. Who makes the most money?
Yeah. It's very powerful,
She's
and she
making,
doesn't have the liability. I mean,
yeah,
the burden of having to put all that money up for buying the property.
right. She doesn't have to do that. In fact, that landlord, he could be doing this, but look, he's probably paying a mortgage out of that $850, right?
Right.
And he's paying property taxes, and he's probably paying insurance. And sure he is.
Right.
So so that's the landlord's gross. That's not his net. Yeah, her net is $900 a month.
Right.
So,
well, and I see it this way, Mr. Al, if because I'm always thinking in big numbers. I mean, that's one deal, one property, one cash flow, one channel, right? But if you have 10 of those or 20 of those, now you're setting the tone for 10 or $20,000 a month.
Absolutely.
Literally turned out into a good cash flow play there. So
it's a massive business. Yeah.
One of the things that I've seen, and I know people personally myself in the Bay Area, the numbers are I've seen people making in the upwards of 2,000 to $2,500 per property.
Yeah.
And that's it's very interesting to see that people are making some big numbers, and it may require even less properties.
That's so good. I'm going to get into those examples too. That's absolutely right. So I'm going to the Bay Area has so much more cash flow potential, especially the San Mateo area. Hey, let's go through this. I want to share this last piece of it. Is that her setup cost was $4,100,
okay,
which is which is okay. Now she used her money, but she didn't have to. It takes money, but it didn't have to be her money. And of course, we talked about it in nets 900 a month. So we're just kind of talking about the math. That means this is really important. Her break even. She breaks even in 4.5 months. That's what's the powerful thing about this arbitrage business, is that you get all your money back quickly, and then it's infinite returns from there on out. So that's what's simply amazing, and it works all over the United States and internationally. So the rate of return for her is 120% just on those 10 months, but much higher if you annualize. If you annualize, it's like 150%, which means that she could borrow money at 20% and still make a fortune. So that's the first insight. Is that rental arbitrage is, if you is a cash flow business, and anyone can afford to do it because you can quickly break even if you follow those principles I'm sharing with you. You can quickly break even. So first insight is don't think you're priced out. You can do this in the Bay Area. You just need the know-how, and that's not hard to get. So that's some good news. Hey, I'm gonna power through these. These are some examples that I wanted to show you with the bigger numbers here.
Okay.
But secret number 2 is that it's a marketing business. So secret number 1 is rental arbitrage. That's kind of the principle behind the cash flow. And secret 2 is a marketing business. I want to talk to you about.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Ethan. He was actually in our meeting with you. So you met him, Raul. He was actually there, and what he did, he was using rental arbitrage. Okay, so he rented this little place in San Bruno. This house in San Bruno was a 3-bed, 2-bath. But what's interesting about Ethan, before I go on, is that he really wanted to get away from his job. He wanted time freedom, and he wanted to raise his family. He was doing the regular landlord thing. He owned a place in San Francisco for a long time. Then he took equity out of it, and he bought some more places in San Francisco. And he says, you know what? I'm not making any cash flow. It costs so much. I'm just getting bigger bills. Yes, I'm getting more money in, but my bills are going up too. So he's like, something needs to change. Right. And he came to 2 talks that I had, and he tracked down a whole bunch of people that went through my course. He really did his homework before he jumped in and signed me up to be his coach. So this is what we had, the strategy that we have for San Bruno. We were trying to stay out of San Francisco because they have such big hurdles. They have the most restrictive ordinances in the United States. So we got on the edge of San Francisco, San Bruno, where those ordinances were. We read the ordinances and made sure they applied. So you got a 3-bed, 2-bath, and it's kind of set up this way with a 1-bed, 1-bath downstairs and 2 beds and 1-bath upstairs. So that was strategic, and they had separate entrances, so 2 ways into the house.
Super.
And he put a kitchenette and downstairs, and of course you have a kitchen upstairs. And then you don't always have to do this, but he did this. He made a $20,000 investment in making the place look nice and doing some upgrades, and that right there really helped the owner say, yeah, you can do whatever you want. Because the owner was cash strapped. So he found the place, the location. He made an investment. Remember, he's thinking this is part of his startup cost, and we're thinking about that. And so now he has 2 units. He has an upstairs unit. He runs independent of the downstairs unit. They both have kitchenettes. They both have bathrooms. They both have bedrooms. So he said, let me split this. Let me make a duplex out of this single family home in San Bruno. And so his monthly costs altogether, utilities and everything, is about $4,800 a month. And his revenues, his gross revenues, is about $6,000, $8,000 per month. So it varies. He's got some variability. He does month-long stays, so he's within the ordinance. And he runs both units. And that's how he, on average, I'm not talking about his best days, on average, is $2,800 a month.
Correct.
Which means, here's the thing, he breaks even with that $20,000 investment. It's all his money back in 7 months.
Very powerful. Not only that, there's people that say, okay, what happens if I don't have the 20K? It's like partner up with someone that does, you
That's
know?
exactly right. You can pay them back in 7 months.
Yeah, partner up with some, split the profits, whatever you feel that it's reasonable.
Right.
There's always a way around things when you're being just completely bluntly transparent about it.
That's right. It's resourcefulness, right? I know you
Right.
believe in that.
Yeah. There's
Um,
there's a question that someone from the audience, Mr. Al, is making. He says, Mr. Santos says, I have a two-bedroom house. One room is empty. Can I rent this room in Airbnb?
Oh yeah, you absolutely you absolutely can. Everything rents through Airbnb. It's just a matter of how much you charge.
Got it.
Okay, so I don't mean to flip it, but everything rents. I mean, people can rent the inside of their car in San Francisco area. It's just a matter of price. The thing that as a if you're sharing the home, that's one thing. If you're sharing your home, then this webinar is really not for you.
Got it.
If you want to go out and build a big net income and get financial freedom, then this webinar is for you.
Right.
That's what I'm talking about. Okay. So breaks even a 7 month, that means there's a lot of things possible. That means you can joint venture or you can just go get a loan. But it's absolutely doable because you can, it doesn't matter. Only the interest that you actually comes out of your pocket matters, not the interest rate.
Mm-hmm.
Only the amount of interest you pay on money is important. That's a key thing to know. But so how did he know? How did Ethan know he's going to be able to keep the place filled? Because that's what most people are worried about. Well, I told him there's a lot of different rentals or extended stay, short-term rentals. Most people focus on just vacation rentals, where tourists come to town, or people for business travelers, or people like me who, when I go and speak out of state, I go stay at an Airbnb for a couple of days. That's what's most popular. But there's also military housing, and then there's corporate housing. People stay for businesses rented for the whole year, or there's people that are on assignment that need it for several months. There's student housing, of course, insurance housing. When people get flooded or fire damage, the insurance companies really don't care how much it costs to set them up. They just have to find a place, furnished rental for them. And then there's medical housing on many different levels. There are traveling healthcare professionals. There are people traveling to be near their loved ones who are going through surgery or chemotherapy for many times. And then there are medical students. There's all three levels. There's many different levels. And of course, there's temp housing, which is one of the most profitable things for me here in Sacramento. We got people, baby boomers specifically, selling their homes in the Bay Area and moving to the foothills, and they just need a place in between for their dogs and everything. So you guys don't come to Sacramento. Don't come to Sacramento. But so there's a big variety. If you know how to, each one of these has its own marketing strategies that we talk about in my course, and I train people on. And each one of them has their own different needs, and each house or each dwelling is perfect for one of these categories. So it's a big conversation. It's much, much bigger than just simply Airbnb. I like to say Airbnb is just a planet in the universe. There's a universe of opportunities. I let people, Airbnb does a great job of keeping you on their planet. They're brilliant at that. And I like that. I'm just sharing to your audience, Raul, that there's a universe and they can make a fortune if they left the planet.
True.
So here, I want this question. Which one of these things is recession proof? You guys in the chat box, tell me which one of these categories, vacation, military, corporate, student, temp housing, medical, insurance, which one, well, let's say this, which one is most vulnerable to recession, to a downturn in the economy? Which one? What do you guys think?
Medical.
You think medical is recession proof, or medical is vulnerable?
No, it's recession proof.
Yeah, it is. Absolutely. What about but what about vacation rentals? Do you think that's vulnerable to a downturn in the economy, or is it recession proof?
Mr. Bobby's saying that vacation rentals is risky.
Yes. And that is where most people stay.
Avita is saying corporate. Interesting. It is very powerful when you start really noticing this thing. Like, knowing, once again, it's about knowing the rules and learning how to play with them.
Yeah. That's why it's all right here is about marketing. And so uh, let's say vacation where everyone stays. And that's where low hanging fruit is. Doesn't take any knowledge at all to operate there and make a fortune without much knowledge at all. Say there's a downturn in the economy. What do? Well, you pivot into one of these other categories. First, you have to know that there's these other categories, and then you pivot into it if there's a downturn in the economy. So medical housing is always going to be strong. Insurance housing is always going to be strong. What about military housing? Do you think that's going to we can lose our military? That's always going to happen.
Yeah.
So if and say there is a slowdown in corporate housing, which say there's a slowdown, then you can switch over to temp housing or student housing, or you got that is our strength and that knowledge of knowing how to pivot out. Okay. Hope you guys like that. Hopefully that was worth the cost of admission. So that's what Ethan did. He that's why he knows he can stay filled. He doesn't feel like he's being risky because he knows how to. We call it the blitz and pivot. How to get into those different categories and pivot out of them. And he was able to, starting in December 2017, but using this house splitting type of tactic, he was able to get essentially 1 unit per month, and he is now financially free. What is it? Is right now it is July 2019.
Right.
So that's it. He is out. He is spending time with his friends, taking his girls to boba tea and all that stuff. He's done. So it's pretty fast, isn't it?
It can. I mean, it's really, once again, it's about having, one of the things that I know about Ethan is he had a purpose. His purpose was, I want freedom and family time. And see, when we don't set the vision from the very beginning, then that's when I see that people have some struggles and hard times, even more so, because struggles and challenges are going to happen to anybody all the time, because it's part of growth. But especially when you don't have a clear path, it's just going to feel much more heavier.
That's right. And we also have, for Ethan, we had a whole community of us supporting him and helping him with his questions and encouraging him when things went wrong. And that helped him get through. I mean, when you surround yourself with a supportive group, you can get through. I think a lot of people fail because they try to achieve their goals on their own.
Right.
Yeah. So that's insight number 2 is that you got to know how to market so that it takes the risk out of it. And if you know about the 6 categories, which you guys do, and you know how to pivot between them when you see things slowing down, you can keep your rental arbitrage filled, so you don't have to deal with vacancies. You don't have to worry about vacancies if you have that strategy. And they're recession proof. Okay. Hey, let's move on to 3. I don't want to run out of people's lunchtime. I got materials I could talk all day. But this is Jay. He used a rental arbitrage strategy, and I'm not gonna tell his full story because of the time, but he wanted to be a world traveler. He did not want to be in the cubicle, even though he was, trained as a banker, doing underwriting, had a good job. He didn't want to wait till he was old to travel, and he had a fourplex. He wasn't able to make it into a successful short-term rental just because the way things were going, and he was in Richmond, and he was a little bit away from the BART station. And he contacted me, chased me down, and a number of different things. I shared with him that he needed to add a bicycle and he needed to do extended stays. And I didn't give that last piece of information up willingly, that was my big secret, because I was housing a lot of international travelers on extended stays. And I had plans on doing a big old franchise, big old rollout. But that's what convicted me, is because I knew he had a purpose, like Raul was saying. And the little information I gave him, I knew it would help him achieve that. So I told him to address his transportation interest and go for for him in Richmond, I said, I want you to do travel nurses. And that's what freed up $900 a month per unit for him in Richmond, and allow through, and also he was able to grow through rental arbitrage because he had the insider niche know-how. And this is him in Thailand, living his dream. This is one of his things on his bucket list that I could play that for a while. But that's what brought the satisfaction to me, was that, hey, you know, this is more fun. It's more fun to help people achieve their goals and get financially free. It doesn't feel good to keep it to myself. You know, yeah, I'm here with my family. I don't have to go to work anymore, but to keep it to myself was not as fulfilling as sharing it. And that's why I'm talking to you guys today, because I want to get the message out that you can live the life you design. And rental arbitrage is a quick way, is one of the ways, but it's a very quick way of safely getting to what you're trying to achieve. And this graph here, I want to leave some time. I don't want to run out of time, but I'm going to click through it and tell you this graph is that workload is how many people stay per month. If you have 3 turnovers per month, your workload is like 3. You're always a little frazzled. And again, the numbers on the vertical axis is all net income. So your goal is to do as least amount of work as you have to, and make as much net income as you can make. And I did an experiment back in 2015, which brought light to this. I'm going to tick through it. I started off as a regular landlord, making that $850 a month for one of my units, and I turned it into a short-term rental. And over here, I did 3 stays, and I made a lot more money, more than twice what I was making as a regular landlord, gross. But my net income came on down. My net income was still impressive, but I had to pay, city taxes out of that, and all the paperwork, all the cleanings, extra insurances required, and I was frazzled. It's like, Raul, through school, you can do well on a test, but you're just frazzled afterwards. It takes a day to recover, right?
Right.
You can study hard and do well, but you just and all this up and down, doing well, getting these 5-star reviews wore me out. So I said, let me optimize for 1 month stays, and that's what I did. I lowered my price. I said, I'm gonna go for $1,600. Make sure I'm, $1,600 is way more impressive than $850. That was my gross. My net was $1,410, and that's like, it still was worth it. It wasn't that much work. I checked them in, and then I checked them out. It wasn't that much work. I enjoyed doing that. And then I looked at my numbers, because I have to I'm a scientist. This was the experiment. And I say, you know what? 1,400 is about the same as 1,475. So I say, it was a whole lot less work. Look at this workload. And I made about the same amount of money. And so I'm like, that's all I'm going to do is 1 month stays. That's how I discovered it. And then I optimized for travel nurses, and they stay 3 months. So that means all my time and my expenses and everything were, and of course, I didn't have to do extra. I didn't have to deal with the city ordinances. That was a big weight off my shoulders. So my expenses went down. That means my net income went up.
Right.
So I realized that I was on a net income basis. Take my eyes off the gross and pay attention to the net. I was making more doing 3 month stays than I was doing 3 stays per month.
Correct. Because you didn't have that vacancy factor. Right. I know we're running out of time, Mr. Al, but I want to make sure that we give an opportunity to the attendees to basically be able to get, I know you got a course, and that there's obviously more time that they're going to need to invest and to really get, and then we want to get into questions. But what is it that you got that they can obviously get and learn as they go? Because I mean, just like anything else, there's a learning curve. There is a process of doing things, and I love growth all the time. And I know that obviously for what you've been doing, and for what I've seen from, various people that are, what the fun that they're having, and the funds that they're making becomes a very, it becomes a very valuable way of making really a substantial grade of living, freedom, however, whatever goal the person has.
Absolutely.
Where can they go, or how can they get it?
Well, I put something together for specifically for your group here, and for those who are serious who want to go forward. And I hope I gave everyone enough information they can do it on their own. But if they want to go through and make a not make fewer mistakes and actually help them make that transformation, I put together extended stays for landlord. That's my coaching and training program. It's an interactive course. Let me tell you about it. It is specifically for business travelers, because most of the issues and the horror stories you hear are related to tourists. So I know there's categories of tourists and there's categories of travelers. I only focus on the travelers.
Mm.
And then I have a bunch of time-saving templates, lease agreements, and all kinds of systems, like simple things like an icon will help people understand where things are. No matter what language they know, they are successful before they even try. It helps you get better reviews. I'm really proud of all my templates and worksheets.
So
And
can we call it like this could be like a plug and play, because you'll be able to provide them with all that?
that's it.
Okay.
And they go through the worksheets, and so I can guide them through what they need to know. And marketing systems, because you got to know how to market. And also I put together into a checklist, and I do put in a checklist is so that you can give it to someone else to maintain it, to maintain your marketing, because you want to be proactive marketing. You don't want to wait till a vacancy before you start marketing. And you want to, Airbnb is great, but you don't want to depend on it. You want to have your own, you want to use, I always like to say Airbnb is so great, it's so good that you can use it as a safety net. You can use it as a backup plan. And that's that's the way to do it. So that checklist is very powerful. I have my virtual assistant do it, and keeps my places filled, my 19 places filled. So it's a system that I use. Rental arbitrage, all the details about it, all the scripts that Rochelle used and everyone uses, and we keep refining this based on our experiences. So that's what Ethan and Rochelle and everyone used. Everyone used this rental arbitrage system. So that's the results of going through it. Everything you need to know. And I tell you, everything you need to know about travel nurses. I've been housing them here in Sacramento for the past 5 years. All the details, how to market to them, how to price, how to furnish the place. Those are all real specific things. So all that together, I call it is the power pack, and all that as a for that is a value of $1,597. And again, a lot of people in the Bay Area are making like $1,300 of net income per month. So it doesn't take you very long to to pay that. But I got some bonuses. Now, these are specific bonuses just for your group, Raul.
Okay.
Okay, I want to ensure they're successful. So there's a private coaching and a private Facebook group and monthly calls. We're going to do that. And those are recorded. So nationwide, you get to hear from everyone. And we all will brainstorm any issues that folks have all over the nation. So there is nothing that we haven't heard before. We can help you right through it. And then there's email support directly to me. So that's my time. I don't send it off to anyone else. It's directly to me because that's how I learn. And that's how I give, I know I'm giving it customer service that I have no qualms about my customer service. And then, everyone's got hurdles. They may not know how to handle money, or how to raise money, or not know how to do that. They may not know about specific things in your neighborhood. That's why this one-on-one coaching, like I gave Jay. And so I'm going to throw in 20 minutes. That usually comes from my plan, but here's the special. I'm going to give everyone that says if they want the Raul special, an extended consult. Okay.
Awesome.
Extended consult, but you have to say you want the Raul special. Otherwise, you don't get it. If you go online to try to find me, you'll find me, but you're not going to get the Raul special. Okay, you got to do that. So the advice I gave Jay ended up with increasing his net income by $500 per month per unit. So if you do the math, you see that's over $3,000 a year. That's why the one-on-one training with me, who's been doing it for 5 years and helped over 700 people, is a valuable thing. And I'm giving you guys a Raul special, the extended version of that. So if you add it all together, it's well over $10,000, $997. But we're gonna, of course, as always, we're gonna bring that down. Now this can give you a 30-day money back guarantee, and I'll give you the Raul special. So you're gonna get an extended consult to make sure that you can create a action plan for you for $997.
I'm going to throw in something. I'm going to throw in something additionally on my end. If I, and it's only just for this group. It's only for the weekly real estate talk show with Raul Luna. You know, so and what I want to be, and I didn't told you about this, but you know, I want to throw it in out there. Hey, I'm always looking for people to partner up. If you buy the program and you're serious about the program, okay. And I don't mind putting up. In other words, I can partner up with you. I don't want to be active on it. I'm willing to be more of like the money partner. Although you will have to get interviewed by me if that's the case. If you were to, you know, use my own money, let's just say somebody's there and they want to use the extended stay, you know, landlord arbitrage. I'm not looking for more things to add into my plate. I want to be clear on that. I'm looking for partner operators that they are extremely great at, at being movers and shakers and understanding what they're getting themselves into. That in addition to it, whoever gets it, whoever gets the program and they want a partner, you know, I'm open to that. Once again, I want to be clear. I'm willing to put the money for a partnership on someone that that wants to do this business. If you don't need a partner, that's fine. No need. But I'm just putting it out there just in case that you want to obviously understand that I believe that you can do things with no money. You don't need money. You need courage. You don't need money. You need great contacts. You don't need money. You need creativity. So if you are the hungry person, the visionary person, I'm willing to bet into the right the right people. I invest more on people than on businesses. Truly, that's what it is. So I'm just throwing it out there because I know that I'm looking for ways to expand, but it's not because I want to add more to my plate. I want to be clear with that. I'm not looking to add more into my plate. I have a lot as it is, but I'm always looking to I'm always looking to dress the money and put it to work and send it out to make some children out there.
Awesome. So there you go. You got the money that you need, and you can whatever type of partnering or whatever, you can quickly break even, so you guys have profits to share. I showed you how to do that, and then I'm willing to give you.
They gotta send an email, right? Because I don't see the link.
You don't see the al@leadinglandlord.com. Well, the link is not there yet. We're going to add that to your recording.
Got it. Okay.
So people, if they email me, say Raul Special, we're going to add the link in later. But that's how you can get going right now before Raul gets filled up with other requests.
And by the way, I'm only going to do it sincerely because of the constraints and things. I'll probably just do it with top three, the first three people or the first three that qualified.
Yeah.
I will have to interview the person personally because I want to do it with with people that are result driven, because at the end of the day we want success stories, and I know that if you're here it's because you want to do something better. So let's take few questions.
Yeah, let's do that,
and let's wrap up with that. I know that there were some few questions there. Oops, give me a second, let me go there. There were one question came from Ms. Leray, says renting a property then re-renting it, isn't that called sublease? Are landlords okay with this?
In real estate everything's negotiable. That's the magic about real estate. And the answer is yes. We're doing it all the time. I have 9 of these of those,
but you tell the landlord
every day.
You tell the landlord, hey, listen, this is what I'm looking to do.
That's right.
You explain the benefits of why they should allow you to do it versus versus maybe continuing the same way, right?
Right. So
Right.
their answer is, I want to be direct. The answer is yes. People say it's subleasing, and it's on your lease agreement. It's the same as pet, whether they'll accept pets or not.
Mm,
It's the same, exactly the same thing.
right. Okay. And then Mr. Bob says, who pays for cleaning and servicing the unit?
Well, of course, you put that into your pricing,
Mm,
so that your guests, your clients pay for everything.
got it.
You
So
want to build that into your pricing. And if you're doing 1 month stays, they don't have any problem with it. It's very, very reasonable.
right. That's what you were saying, that if you do 90 days, it tends to net you more because there's obviously things that doesn't get involved right there.
That's right.
Got it. Okay. Don is saying, hi, Al. Do you have any programs or info for home sharing models? I've been doing it
No,
for about 4 or 5 years.
you,
So,
you can find people who have home sharing. There's lots of people talking about that. And since I don't do that myself, I don't teach about it.
got it. And then the second, I guess, question to that is, it says, so open to improving and expanding. I've been doing this for about 4 to 5 years. So open to improving and expanding to your model, Don.
Oh, great. We'll be happy to have you.
Yeah. Do you ever have to evict anyone?
No, that's why I focus specifically on business travelers who have an employer
Great
and they have
question.
a family back home, and you know, and they're actually making, so their housing allowance is tax free, and they're actually making money they're saving money, so they're actually able to pocket tax free money. It's not a money issue at all, so I don't have to evict anyone,
But
and
but but, but you
there's no
don't
problem
evict
with
them
that.
just for money issues. Can have you had any experience where they just become a nuisance?
No.
Okay. Okay,
No,
got it.
and again, I do teleconferences every month, and I travel the country. The people doing this, I don't have any horror stories to share with you. The problems that we have is that we can't shelter our cash flow.
Right.
That's the problems that we have.
Got it. All right, guys. I know that, I really appreciate, Mr. Al, that you were able to make it here today. And like I said, this is the very first time that we decided to bring somebody. So you broke the standard. You created, obviously, the path, and very excited to be here with you today, and getting to share the platform. So everybody heard it. Go and email Al at leadinglandlord.com. Put the Raul special thing. And if you're interested, go ahead and start the way, start leading the path that you want, for your life. All right. And, anything else that we got to cover before we wrap up?
No, this we're going to add the direct link in later.
Okay. Beautiful. Thank you, everybody, for showing up. Appreciated. Thank you for, taking the time out of your busy schedule in the weekly real estate talk show with Raul Luna. We'll get to see you next week at the same time. And congratulations. So, make sure that you're putting things into perspective and put some action behind the knowledge. Thank you. Have a wonderful one.